Shutout in Seattle Part 2 is the 24th and final episode of the 6th season of Frasier. This is directed by Pamela Fryman, and as always there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode chronologically and share some thoughts. And in general, it's not a bad episode, not one of my favourites, but we do have some good moments and some brilliant Frasier facial expressions. Starts off with a quick recap from the previous episode, and then Frasier is at KCL. He's trying to call Niles. He calls Roz Bulldog's squeaky toy, which is not great, but also very funny. And Bulldog is then wanting to take Roz out to dinner, and Roz panics because it was just sex, but Bulldog seems to think they're in a relationship, and Bulldog gets fired, and Roz obviously doesn't want to say anything to hurt his feelings, but now Bulldog's clinging to her as his girlfriend in his time of need. It's not a very happy start to the episode. Back at the apartment, though, things do get quite happy because Frasier finds Daphne's engagement ring. And just as he remarks that it could have been really awkward if Faye had found it, Faye comes into the room and starts to say yes, she will accept the proposal. And a second later, she admits she's just messing with Frasier, but it was very convincing. I rather enjoyed it. And then Donny comes in the room and says, "You found your ring!" So he knew all along anyway. So definitely quite a fun scene. And then Niles and Kit come over, Kit being, of course, the waitress from Cafe Nervosa, and Niles looks very, very different. He's wearing very different clothing. He's going to take Kit to Euro Disney. Frasier tries to talk with Niles and tries to say that she isn't right for you, you're not behaving like yourself, but at this point, Niles doesn't really want to hear it. We're then down at Cafe Nervosa with Frasier and Roz. She's there to meet Bulldog, and Frasier sees Niles with Kit, and he remarks that actually Niles does look happy. Maybe he should just leave it alone. And I think that that's raising an interesting discussion. If somebody you love is behaving in a way that's very bizarre for them, should you say something out of genuine concern for their well-being? Or if they're happy, should you just let them get on with it? And I don't think there's a right answer there. I think it's a very grey area, but I definitely think the episode kind of helped to show both sides of the situation. Frasier then phones Faye, and while he leaves her a message, Roz points out that he yet again called her Cassandra, and obviously flustered, Frasier apologises for this. Bulldog then comes in and Roz tries to tell him exactly what their relationship, or lack thereof, is, and Bulldog's not really having it. He's not really interested in this. Then Martin arrives. Turns out he broke it off with Bonnie because her dog humped Eddie, and Martin thinks this was really embarrassing for Eddie, and that means he can no longer date Bonnie, apparently. And then Faye arrives, and then Cassandra arrives. And initially it seems like they're not going to bump into each other, it's going to be fine. And then Niles speaks with Frasier about Kit. There's a lot of going back and forth in this. This all takes place in Cafe Nervosa, and it's very well executed, very, very well done. And Niles says that Kit is killing him, and he decides he's going to break it up with her. And I love how this was done. He does this. He goes up to the counter and talks with her, and she loses it. And in the foreground, we see Frasier at the table, his back to Niles, but his face slightly more towards the camera, and his expression is just absolutely fantastic. And Frasier has bigger issues to worry about than what is going on with Niles and Kit, because Faye and Cassandra then bump into each other. And Faye introduces herself as Faye, and Cassandra is about to say her name, and Frasier dives slow motion across Cafe Nervosa, and it was just absolutely brilliant. So funny, so well done. And then the final scene is an absolute joy, and actually a really nice way to end the season. All three of the Crane boys are down at the bar. Niles and Nuts and Frasier are deciding maybe they should go in for some therapy, maybe they'll go together or get a discount, and Martin interjects and tells them that there's nothing wrong with them, and he says all of the right things, and it's really sweet. And he decides to lighten the mood by asking the pianist to play something, and it turns out the pianist can only play a couple of songs. I think it was maybe 3 songs, one of which was Goldfinger. So Martin asks him to play Goldfinger, And reluctantly, Niles and Frasier stand there, and Martin's conducting, and he's giving them the lines before it gets to it because they can't remember the words. And it's really sweet with Martin telling them the lines, and then they sing them, and then eventually they get it and they remember the lyrics, and they're all singing. And I actually wish it had gone on for longer. It didn't need to. Obviously, it was fine to end it where they did, but I would have liked just a few more lines because it was a really lovely, upbeat, positive way, a really beautiful way to end the season with the three Crane boys having a sing-song together. It was really lovely. And in general, it's not a bad episode. It's not my favourite. It's not the funniest, but there are definitely some really strong moments, and as I said, some great facial expressions. So, all things considered, Shutout in Seattle Part 2 is not too bad, and I'm really looking forward to rewatching Season 7.